day makes a huge difference. Even if it's a little bit every day.
Okay, Carol, did you get my email with all that stuff I printed up for you?
Um.
The titles of the songs and
Oh
trios.
no, I didn't. When did you send it?
Yeah, I sent it earlier this last week. I sent that all to you.
No, I've been looking every day.
You what the hell? Maybe this isn't good because I didn't send it to you.
All right, so this is all right. So this is what we've got so far. I'll give this to you.
Did I show you what I sent you? Because I'm upset that it didn't come to you. It's not probably your fault, but I still want to.
Yeah, so I've got these three things that are big question marks.
Well, I think I sent it to you on email.
It should be on your. Yeah, I've been checking my phone and my email.
That is
Thank you, Carol, for that lovely music. Good day and welcome. Welcome to today's Sunday service. We are truly grateful that you are here today on this rainy, somewhat cold spring morning. My name is Joy Hembel, and I am the worship service coordinator for today's service. Here at All Souls, where our mission is to seek truth, practice love, and celebrate life. Whether you are joining us for the first time or you've been a member for a long time, you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known or not known, or whatever your heritage, you are welcome here. Whatever questions you hold, whatever truths you seek, whatever sorrow you have known, whatever joy has filled your heart, whoever you are and whomever you love, you are welcome here. I have a few announcements. I just want to thank everyone here who has continued to give your treasure and your time to All Souls. And because of your generosity during the past several months, we've been able to support many nonprofit causes. And I will urge you again to continue to watch our weekly email blasts for dates and details of upcoming events, opportunities, and worship service details. And if you are not on our email list, please sign up for it. There's a clipboard out there in the foyer, and Eric Berg will help you find that if you would like to get our emails. And lastly, I invite you to stay for conversation and coffee, a circle discussion right after today's services. So now we have a few other announcements. Paul, our pledge chair.
Thank you. Yes, I am Paul Thompson, and I'm the chair of this year's pledge drive. This is the time of our pledge drive when we ask you to make a commitment to our church to further the things that we are trying to do. Last year we had a successful pledge drive, and we're hoping that this year we will see as good or better of a drive. Every church requires resources to run, to pay our minister, to pay our rent, to pay our mortgage, to pay our utilities, and to support the programs that we do within the community. So if you're looking for a pledge form, please check with me afterwards. Many of you have gotten one already, and I look forward to your filling it out. The pledge drive ends in
Couple weeks.
It ends at some point.
When everybody's pledged.
It ends before I'm dead. And, we're just hoping that we'll see your pledge before I expire. So thank you very much.
Okay, are there other announcements? Yes, Kevin Kolb.
Reminder, Tuesday is the city council run-on election. All Souls will be a polling place for precinct 5-7 on Tuesday, so if you're seeking to run on your Tuesday, that's what. Also, as far as announcements and such, we have a website, sfuu.org, and we have a calendar for all the activities and events are pretty much put up there if you need to consult. Also, we do have a Facebook page. Some of that is there as well. So thank you very much.
Eric Berg.
Good morning, I'm Eric. A couple of times a year, we have short 1 hour, 45-minute sessions on what is Unitarian Universalism? What does it take to become a member? What do we do? What do we believe? What do you believe? So in the order of service, or on the table back there, you'll find a little sheet of paper, which is a sign-up for next Sunday immediately following the church service, or a week from this Tuesday in the evening at 7 o'clock. So if you can't make it after church, you've got an evening opportunity also. If you're a longtime member and you want to refresh what the history of Unitarian Universalism is, you're more than welcome to come and join in and refresh things also. Thank you.
Others? Okay, hearing none. Oh, Miss Carol, yes, by all means.
I don't know if I can
Is this turned on?
I can speak.
Okay, speak loud.
I'm projecting. I tell my students to project when they have to get up and speak. On Sunday, May 19th, in lieu of the regular service, we're going to be presenting a program about an hour and a half of music, the spoken word, and artwork. And so our program is all of a sudden, it's just really developing, so it should be a very nice program. But what we would like to do is just fill this church with flowers. So if you have flowers growing in your yard, if you have access to flowers, doesn't matter what they are, bring them, and we'll just have flowers everywhere in the church while we do this program. So we'd like to invite you to it, but also if there's anybody that would like to join in the presentation of the actual program, to play an instrument, or to sing, or if you have some poetry that you've written, we would love to include you in this.
And artwork.
And artwork, yes. We'll have artwork from our members in the church. So.
Okay, thank you very, very much. We are able to have this worship service because of the help of many, and I particularly thank our musician, Carol Flower, and Paul Thompson and Terry Lang, who've all helped out a lot here. And even though our minister, Alan Sogstad, is at another church today, I thank him because he's very, very helpful with our worship team. I will now ask that the chalice be lit so that we can begin our service. And our speaker, LJ Pilaz, is gracious enough to light our chalice for us. And I'm going to say the opening words for the chalice, which, as you can see in your program, is number 452 in the back of your hymnal by Marjorie Montgomery. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. Our first song is number 6 in your hymnal, in your gray hymnal, and it's called Just as Long as I Have Breath. And so Carol will play a brief introduction, and then I'll invite you to stand and join me. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love. Thank you. Our first reading is from, again, the back of the gray hymnal, number 419. And this is by, or attributed to Kalidasa. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence. the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Now is the time when I will read a story for all ages. And I invite any children who would like to come up closer to look at the pictures to join me up here. The story today is Thank You, Earth. And many of you have probably read this book before, but I think it's well worth reading again. We've recently had Earth Day, and I view our Earth as our mother. So this book is called A Love Letter to Our Planet. Thank You, Earth, and it's by April Polisser. Have you guys seen this book before? No? Okay, well, it's sort of new, and I got it from the library, and I will try to read it upside down so that you can see the pictures. And this very first one where it says, Thank You, Earth, what is that a picture of? Can you tell? A duck? I think it's a duck. And we have lots of ducks around here, don't we? As a matter of fact, my husband and I found a duck with about 12 or 13 eggs right outside our front door when we came back from Wisconsin. And it's camouflaged by that tall grass I was going to cut down, and now I can't cut it down because she's sitting on it.
That duck is as far from our front door as I am from you.
Right, right. So ducks are definitely on Earth and going to be here for a long time, and they're right now making their eggs, and they're sitting on their eggs. It's wonderful. So anyway, this is a book that says, Dear Earth, thank you for water and those that float. So right off, we've got some ducks floating. For slippery seaweed and stones. Can you see okay? Yeah, you come closer. I won't bite. Thank you for mountains and minerals that strengthen bills and bones. Thank you for air, even fishy whale breath. Yeah. Thank you for colors and coastlines and beaches. Do you see the beach? Wow. Thank you for tiny and towering. So we have both tiny things and big things on Earth. Towering like the tree. Really, really. For trees and vines and reach. Oh, for trees and vines that reach. So they're the vines reaching up the tree. Thank you for curves and prickles. This is my favorite one. I love the curves of the flower and the leaves and parallels and patterns. You see what's the patterns of? What are those?
Like turtles.
Little turtles, little turtle patterns. Yeah, if you haven't had this book before, go get it from the library. They have several copies. Thank you, Earth. And all shapes that repeat. So here we have the sunflower, repeating and repeating. Every flower is unique, but they're a little bit alike, aren't they? Thank you for leaves and stems and buds and for plant parts we can eat. Do you like to eat plant parts? It's what we call vegetables, right? Pretty good. Fruit. Thank you for sounds and storms and seasons, for struggles and pale in-betweens. So these are very, very pale things. What are those? What's that a picture of? It could be the ocean in the background, but do you know what this is in the foreground? Ever heard of pussy willows? Yeah, pussy willows. We actually have some in the back above the coffee machine near the refrigerator in the back, near the restroom. Oh, and thank you for rays and radials. Okay, so there's, what is that of? You know what that is, that radial? Dandelion, yeah, that's a dandelion. And overlapping greens. Okay, couple more pages. Thank you for jumbles, ingredients for soil, and bright new growth in spring. That's why I chose this book, because it talks about spring. Thank you for those that crawl. Yes, all, even for those who sting. We don't sometimes like it, but you know, they're part of our earth and we need them. And thank you for sunsets. I'll try to hold that up for the adults. That's so pretty. Thank you for sunsets. For sky roam for birds, for edges eyes can roam. Thank you for beginnings and for endings and for lifetimes. Because we wouldn't have a lifetime if we weren't here on Earth, would we? Everything we have comes from this planet for us to stay alive. And that's the end. That's the last page. It's a wonderful book. Thank you very much for coming up here. And now we will sing you out to go downstairs and have more fun. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Now please join us for Joys and Concerns. In this congregation, we found it helpful to share the ups and downs of our lives by the practice of taking a stone from the bowl, holding it in our hands, and dropping it in the water to let our emotions, our joys, and our concerns ripple out to the wider world. I would just ask you when you come up to sort of get ready to come up, so come to the front rows so we can get through this quickly and speak briefly so everyone can get a chance to say. And I will start saying, first of all, I'm very grateful to be here with you. I'm grateful in particular to be here with you today with my husband. This is the first time we've been able to come to church together since late December because his mom is in hospice care at our house, and only now have we found someone who could stay with her when we come to church together. So I'm most grateful for that, to be here with him and to be here with you. So when you do come up, I believe both of these microphones are working, Terry, is that right? Yeah, so just grab a microphone and come on up and share your joys and concerns.
Hello, my best friend César is here. He flew over from France. And this week we are going to drive west to the Badlands and to the Black Hills, kids free, and go camping. And this has not happened to me in probably tens of years.
Okay, I welcome you to come on up and share your joy or concern. Congratulations. Félicitations.
Good morning. My name is Marcia. Is this on? Yeah. Okay. All right. I was sure sorry to hear about the tornadoes that have hit in so many areas in the past days, and especially Omaha, my hometown. It brought back a lot of memories from the big tornado of May 7th, 1975, that our family experienced.
Others? I will now put one final stone in the water just to express all those joys and concerns that have not been shared but are in our heart. And then I would ask that we take a moment of silence just to reflect on any emotion or any thoughts that you have right now. And we will do that, and then after a bit, we'll come back to our service. Thank you. Next, we will sing our hymn, number 57, All Beautiful, the March of Days. And please rise as you are able. Thank you.
Come and go. The hand that shaped the rose hath brought the crystal of the snow. Has sent the hoary frost of heaven, the flowing waters sealed, and made a silent liveliness on hill and wood and field. O'er wide expanses, sparkling clear, the radiant morns unfold. The solemn splendors of the night burn brighter through the cold. Life bounds in every throbbing vein, love deepens down the hearts, and clearer sounds the angel hymn, goodwill to all on earth. O thou from whom unfathomed law the year in beauty flows, thyself the vision passing by in crystal and in rose. Day unto day doth utter speech, and night to night proclaim in ever-changing words of light the wonder of thy name.
Thank you. So, LJ, if you go far enough west in your trip and you go to the Rocky Mountains, you will see snow. So maybe you'll get that far. I guess it's more of a winter song that we sang about, but we still might get snow in western South Dakota. You never know. Our second reading today is number 445, and this is a responsive reading. So if you would join me, it's called The Womb of Stars. Again, it's in the back of the gray hymnal, 445, by Joy Atkinson. And I will read the regular type if you will respond with the italics, please. The Womb of Stars. The womb of stars embraces us. Remnants of their fiery furnaces pulse through our veins. We are of the earth. We breathe and live in the breath of ancient plants and beasts. Their cells nourish the soil. We build our communities of their harvest of gifts. Our fingers trace the curves carved in clay and stone by forebears unknown to us. We are part of the great circle of humanity, gathered around the fire, the hearth, the altar. We gather anew this day to celebrate our common heritage. May we recall in gratitude all that has given us birth. So now I have the privilege of introducing to you LJ Pilaz, who will talk about how his thinking has evolved, in particular about death, science, nature, and art. Voila. De rien.
You didn't let Carol play the prelude.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe you could have her play it at the end.
No.
You have to push the little button so that it's green.
It's green.
Oh, really?
No.
Here. Okay. Okay, here. Here. Voila.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to thank Hallen first for giving me the opportunity to reflect on my life and the different times that I've shaped it, the different times that I don't know, maybe I don't know if milestone is the right one, but those times where crossroads times, where you're standing and you have different choices. Do I go here? Do I go there? And I got to reflect on those moments. A little bit about me. Right now, I am a developmental neurobiologist. I do science. And my lab studies how the brain develops in the very early stages. And I still have a hard time admitting it, but I'm starting to also become an artist, and I carve the cells that I look at under the microscope with wood, and hopefully I'll have the opportunity to show them off on that date here. But anyway, coming back to my life and the times that I've shaped it. So I was born in 1982 in a small town in France, 10,000 people. It is thought to be the only place in the world where the actual Christian God has appeared. Like Jesus has appeared many places around the world, but God apparently only once, and it was in Paris-Monial. It's a place of pilgrimage. I was raised Catholic and Protestant. I would know both. I was an altar boy in a 1,000-year-old church. This is what I miss. I love our church, but I miss the old stones that have all this history. Yeah. And I went through most of the sacraments. I have to say I was just going for the ride. I was not really sure what everything was all about, but I was happy to get those parties where I would be at the center of attention and I would get gifts, I guess. Of note, I'm not 100% French, genetically speaking. My mom is Dutch. And what this means is that I would travel to the Netherlands every summer for a month or two. And this was a moment that was really important in shaping my life. I would get exposed to that other culture. I don't know if you don't know the Dutch people, but they're very open-minded. They're very avant-garde in a lot of political and societal decisions, and that was great. And I would go to a lot of art museums. I would really spend hours in them, just being exposed to the great Dutch masters like Vermeer or Rembrandt. I really like. This has really shaped me. Like I've always been drawn to things that are just beautiful, and I think my life is just about that, honestly, like just looking beauty in everything. As a teenager, I was stupid. I was a fat kid, and I think, I still a little bit am in my mind. It's still there. I oftentimes have this, and that makes me lose confidence in myself. But that meant, like, to cope with this, I would make a lot of jokes to fit in. I was not telling the truth much, and but now I really can't do this now anymore. Like I cannot tell lies. Like this is something I really feel like I cannot do. As a kid, I was spending a lot of time on my computer, playing and drawing things, living in a small village. There were things to do, but not that many. In 10th grade, I was in boarding school, probably a 1,000-year-old boarding school as well. I was rebellious, and I had decided that French literature was not something I liked, that's something I hated. And there was a book we were meant to read, Madame Bovary, and I said, nope, I'm not going to read it. And to the point where I ripped off the pages of the book and I was hanging them in my dormitory in the one room I was in during boarding school. Yep. That got me into detention, yeah. A year later, I moved into a bigger city, Lyon, second biggest city in France, which to American standards is not that big. I think it's maybe 2 million people. This is where César lives right now. And I had an amazing French teacher. He was extremely passionate. He would read Molière, the French theater writer. It was just he was just so good. So he converted me back to French literature school. And it's funny to think that, like, yeah, it's most times it's people who make you like or not like something. And maybe inside you would be bound to like whatever, but you don't, because those people would not. And then, so in high school, my parents wanted us to have a good life. They wanted us to have a high probability of being able to have money to raise kids and stuff. So they wanted me to be an engineer, which was the thing. Okay, you got a engineer diploma, you're gonna be good, and there won't be any problem. And I was like, no, I want to be a scientist, I think. And at that time, I already started reading books about animal behavior, Conrad Lawrence. And I was, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to be an animal ethologist. So I went to college. In French college, it's very different. For one thing, it's free. And I don't know if it is the same right now, but at the time you would go to college when you didn't get to go into engineering prep school or other more prestigious schools. But so my parents were not very excited about this, but I said, no, I want to do it. Let me do it. I'm going to do it right. And so I went, and I was a lot of times at the library just studying stuff and I was, again, like bathed into this wonder of nature and the beauty of nature. And I was really excited about just opening books and reading about biology. And I was obsessed with reading. And at first I was more into sci-fi, science fiction. But then I was like, okay, I want to read all the classical books. So I read the old Russian literature. I read like Jane Eyre, like all those really classical books. And there's a reason why they're classical. It's because they're awesome. Like, they're so avant-garde. Like, those guys at these times would write things amazing. Where am I? I had a special shelf where I would place the books once I was there. I was like, okay, you've graduated. I read you. Now you're here. And then I could have them on display, and I could see them, and that would remind me of the things I would have read. Okay, but what really made me who I am, I think a constant, something that has come all throughout the years it's hard to call them. I mean, at first I was calling them bad trips. It was not because I was not under the influence of anything when this happened. I also call them death trips. And so these are moments where I feel like I can experience emptiness or eternity, whatever you call it, so one thing or another. But I feel like I can feel maybe how it is when you're dead, at least. And when this happens, it's not pretty because I get really scared. And it's like when an animal is scared, he wants to run around, and that's what I do. And you can ask Sandrine, and you can ask Cesar. He's had some of those with me, actually. So although they're awful, and when you're in it, it's just incredibly scary. Then it makes you think, okay, we have one life. At the end, maybe there's going to be nothing. So I'm going to, all the time I have in this world, I'm going to make it count. Didn't know that was coming. And I don't know if I'm genetically wired or something, but Matilda does the same thing. And that makes me sad, but yeah, sometimes she would feel. Did not know that was coming. Yeah, she would think about death in those moments, and yeah, it's hard to see her, but I think that it's a gift too. Going through. Okay. But so yes, wanting to make life matter, I wanted to study big questions. like understanding why are we here? What is the sense of all this? So that was why I was going to college for. And then a friend told me, well, you're never really going to be able to do that in your lifetime. So why bother really? And at first I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do it. But then I really started to understand. And eventually I did a PhD, and one of my mentor at a dinner told me, and it took me a time to understand, is, LJ, you're going to spend your life studying something that you will never understand. And I was like, really? No, I'm gonna discover how the brain develops, like how it all works. And I did not understand what he meant, but yeah, I mean, now doing science, I realize there are thousands of things happening in your body right now we know nothing about. We have no idea. And we do experiments and we think things happen and we make little theories on what it is, but really we don't know. And so yeah, so that and this is something I try to tell students who come like with, I've studied biology and all the textbooks and all what's in the textbooks is true. Is it really? We don't know. We don't know. Science, at least biology, it's been around for 50 years, like really hardcore biology. 50 years. In the story of the humanity, it's nothing. Yeah. So there's so much we need to know. And if you put on top of this, all the discoveries that were made, but that really are not discovery, which is people falsifying their data so that they would get grants and survive. You're like, yeah, we don't know. I mean, I'd like to believe like most of us are really trying to be careful and do good science, but like in every place, like there are some bad apples. But anyway, so yeah, so now I'm at peace with this. I'm not going to understand everything that I'm studying. Another part was I once read, it was a comic book, but it was a comic book about a Japanese Zen monk, Ikkyu. And it really touched me deep. And I looked on Amazon, and it's only in French and Spanish at the moment, and the author died, so I don't know if they're ever translated. But at that time, I was really Zen. I was in a state of like absolute patience and dedication. I would do things in a way like I would just be really careful. I would clean up after myself. I would not rush into things. I really wanted to do things right. And this is something, when I started reflecting on it, a lot of times, so I was in that state for 3-5 months. It didn't last. Life got in the way. And but this is always something, a state of mind that I'm hoping I'll be able to get back to at some point in my life. At the end of my PhD, so it was the end of a long journey, really hard. And just at this time, Sandrine and I, we went, it was a Christmas time, and we went to Sandrine's parents in the south of France. And Sandrine's mom had bought a book about the art of simplicity. And it was just lying there on the table, and Sandrine and I started reading it, and it really like took us by surprise, but it has really changed our lives too. Like trying to think about when you buy something, when you acquire something, you have to think about it really hard and not buy something that you don't need, having just what you need. So this is something, if you come to our house, we try really hard to do that. Yeah, we have just the things we need. And we try to convey this to our kids too. Or do we succeed? You can ask Eleanor. Put her on the spot. She's going to hate me. Have you ever... Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that has ever happened to you. Those moments where you feel connected with everything and you can have access to any of your memories. This has happened like maybe 2 or 3 times. But these are states like are so good. And yeah, I hope I'll get back to those, but it was, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can talk about it later during the after the service. But yeah, these are times I'm hoping I'll get back to at some point. So after my PhD, we decided to go to the USA, and that was just an adventure. So I did my PhD in France. Clearly, like the best place to do science in on Earth is the United States, at least based on all the infrastructure. And we had 2 daughters at the time, so we were just, again, going there for the ride. We were thinking we're going to come back at some point. But here we are. My first postdoc was in Baltimore, Maryland. And I was working with a very successful scientist. He had done his undergrad at MIT. He had his PhD from Harvard, and he had done his postdoc at NYU. Very brilliant. And he decided to quit science. He couldn't. There was something that was not, I mean, he was suffering from depression, and the stress of having to apply for grants and sustain the lab was too much for him. So he decided to go. But then that got me thinking, is it really what I want to do? Can I do this? And at the time, Sandrine got pregnant with Eleanor. And so I started thinking about this, and I was like, okay, I have to learn how to organize my time. We're getting another kid. I may want to do science. And I started reading a book, but I don't know if you guys have ever read books about time management, but oftentimes the first chapters are about what do you care about? What is it that you're most interested in? Like, what are your long-term, short-term goals? So that then you know what you want to go to, and then that makes it easier to organize your time so that you get there. So I went through a little questionnaire, what do I want to do? And I was like, okay, no, I want to be a scientist. But that was a time where I was like, okay, I want to be a scientist. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm excited about. And so before, I have to say, I was kind of going for the ride. I was counting on my mentors to get me through. But after this time, it was me. I'm going to do the work, put the work to do it. So yes, this is something I really try to get kids to get to, like, okay, try to self-reflect, not putting too much pressure on them, but try to self-reflect and find what you want to do, because then when you know what you want to do, this is when you could put all your heart into it. Okay, so yeah, and so he decided to go away, and this has happened. He came to our house, and we were announcing that Eleanor was going to be born. And he said, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to close the lab. So then we moved. We went to Durham, North Carolina. And, but yeah, that was good. Eventually, all was good. And there in North Carolina, we were living in an apartment complex, and we had a friend who was from Korea, and he was doing divinity school at Duke University. And part of his divinity school curriculum was to take on a church and be a pastor. And he said once, well, why don't you come over one Sunday? And so we went. I will always remember, it was a small church in North Carolina, like in the forest. And I was at the porch, and I was like, I don't want to go. And then, do we really want to go? We have time. We can go back now. And we stepped in that church, and I got slapped in the face real hard. He really got me in a state where I was all about Christianity. I was all about Jesus, and we were doing Bible study at our house and all that. I was praying before I was doing my presentation at school. I was really into it, and we were doing Bible study with old people, and I would start reading about the Bible, and I was so passionate about it. Everybody was crying, and I was reading books to the kids about Jesus. I was crying. I was listening to the sermons. I was crying too. And yeah, that was a moment like in my life. It just dwindled down in the end, and here I am. Oop, I'm already at 20 minutes. Sorry, you guys. 5 more minutes. But yeah, but it happened. It left, and yep. Let's see. Yeah, I wanted also just to talk about another kind of moment. I don't know if you've ever had them, and I will not be able to get into that state, but it's kind of this what the heck moment. And if there were not kids, I would have used another word, but it's about like, what is this all about? Why are we the way we are? Why is the universe, why is life the way we are? Like, why do we have cars? Why do we have these buildings? Life could be completely different. We could be like floating entities in a weird space, but this is what life gave us. Like, this is so weird. I can get into that state right now. And it's, yeah, it just, yeah, well, like when, I don't know, like just finding this weirdness, but that makes you think, yeah, maybe there's something else, right? I just want to say too, like that I started a year ago. I started going to a psychologist, and I went to his office. The first time I was like, well, I'm coming, but really, I don't have any problem. All is good, really, and I just wanted my life to go to another level. And then I started doing therapy. I was like, oh, okay. And same thing. I got a lot of times where I was crying and stuff, but I think this is really making me a better person. Like, I've discovered things, like some reasons why I'm hurt, some reasons why I get angry at people, and it has, yeah, it's been magical, and I found a modality that really works for me, the internal family system, where you look inside and you look for those different personalities inside you and you try to talk to them. This has worked wonderfully for me, and I just can't wait to keep going and yeah, just become a better person. So yeah, so now as I reflect on life, how do I see it right now? I think there's something above, and I think we all have a purpose. Whether we get in line, our life gets in line with that purpose or not, I don't know. I think that you can only really be happy if you are finding that purpose that you've had in life. There's a book from Robin Hobb that has completely changed my life. It's a heroic fantasy book, but it's about this soldier who is in a world that has some magic, but people don't know really what this magic is about. And he goes to some adventures. He becomes a strong magician. He gets a lot of magical power, but then he wastes it completely because he gets angry at another sorcerer. And at the end of the book, like just for the end, it's just amazing, because it's then you realize, then at the end of the book, it's like magic. So I don't know what you call it. It could be higher powers, whatever. Had a purpose for him. He wasted it completely. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do the work myself. And then you see magic doing the things that he was supposed to do. And that guy can see, oh, okay, you had put me in that situation because you wanted me to do this and that. And in the end, yeah, what magic wanted him to do was to divert a road that was being built that was going to go through the magical lands. But yeah, I think that we have a purpose. Maybe to see it, you have to stop. You have to stop, meditate, get out of the rat race of our lives in modern society, and just look at what's happening. Yeah, and again, I think sometimes I wonder if we can only be happy if we are on our true path. Now, what lies ahead of me, the plan right now, and I think I really want to make it happen. Once the girls are done with school, that's going to be 12 years for Mathilde. I will be 54. I plan to leave science, and I'm hoping that Zenrin and I will just sell our house, build a tiny house, live simply off the land as much as we can, and hopefully I'll be able to do my art on the side. My workshop may be much bigger than my house. But yes, just live off the land, slow down and be able to reflect. We have only one life. I love science, I do, but that's not all I want to do. So yeah, this is what I see for me and myself in the future, waking up in the morning with Sandrine by my side. And thinking, oh, today I'll do some art. I'll go to my workshop or not. Maybe I'll just hang out on the porch, but it's okay because I don't need to earn a lot of money because it's just simple life. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being so open and generous with your thoughts and your times. And it's wonderful to hear how your thinking has changed and how you have changed over the years. And I must apologize. My husband tells me that I forgot to allow Harold to play the prelude, but I guess it's okay since we're running late a little bit anyway. So we can use that prelude for another service. So now is the time when, in fact, we ask for your help to do the work of the church through an offering. And as you can see here in your program, half of today's plate will support the Banquet West. At this church, we try to raise enough money to provide a meal at the Banquet West twice a year. So half of this will go towards the Banquet West. And Harold will play, as I used to say. Thank you. If you would join me in the words in your order of service, the words to receive the offering, I would appreciate it. We give this gift freely. We receive this gift gratefully. We dedicate these gifts to the work of our congregation, serving human wholeness, caring for our planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another. And if you would please join me in our third song, which is number 100 in the Gray Hymnal. Rise as you are able. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul.
I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I think we'll stop there, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're all sounding absolutely great, but we do want to save time for coffee and gather back here around 11:20 or so for a circle discussion with LJ. So, LJ, would you come up, please, and extinguish the chalice, and we can say the words then together that are printed in the program, and then Carol will play the postlude, and then we'll have fellowship time down in Eliza's kitchen with some coffee and back up here at 11:20 for our circle discussion. All right. The chalice is extinguished, but the light goes with us out into the world.